Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will talk about AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda is a service provided by AWS, and here we will write a function and deploy it on AWS. And we only take care of our code. We need not to think about servers, availability, scalability. Every will be handled by AWS. So it's a very important service, and these days we are talking about serverless microservice architecture. In that area, AWS Lambda plays a major role. So here you can see there is a developer guide. In this developer guide, we will able to see that how to create Lambda, how to deploy it, how to integrate it with multiple technologies. So services, there are more than 200 services with which can trigger AWS Lambda. So let's start to create one AWS Lambda. So let's go to our management console. So in management console, there is a search bar. Here we will write Lambda, and the first thing we'll click here. And Lambda, for to run a Lambda, there is multiple runtime environment. Here you can see .NET Code, Go, Java. It's all up to us on which environment we want to take. So if I'm comfortable in Java, then I can write my handler or my logic in Java. If I am comfortable in Node.js, then I can write my function in TypeScript, and then Node.js environment is perfectly fine for that. So let's create one function, and I will give my function name some name. So before that, there is multiple ways to create a Lambda. So I'm just creating it from scratch. If you want to use a blueprint, then there's a multiple template you will able to see. So getting started with HTTP, suppose you want your Lambda to some API gateway, and that API gateway will hit your Lambda, then you can go with HTTP, and there is multiple ways. So suppose you want to integrate your Lambda with S3 bucket, then you can go with this blueprint. But right now we will create our Lambda from scratch. So let's give a name to our Lambda. I will write my first function, and I love to write in Pascal case, but you can use camel casing here. Runtime environment Node.js I will give, and if you want to give it Java, if you're comfortable in Go.NET, then you can choose the runtime environment. Right now, let's leave everything as default and create a function. So when you will create a function, one handler will be there. So basically, handler is the function where your code will be executed, the logic you will write. So it's taking time right now. So yeah, my first function got created. So here, there you will see the code source. All the code is written. So I have created it in Node.js. So here you will see the response. Whenever my Lambda got triggered, this handler will handle all the request, and all the event will come here. Then the response I am like here in this handler response is set. Status code is 200 and the body hello from Lambda. So this is the code is written here. Now I want to test this handler. So what I'll go here on test. I'll run my test sub, and right now I just right now we are not printing anything, but yeah, okay, let's print name ABC. Okay, so we'll test this our handler, and yeah, we are getting the status code 200 and body hello from Lambda as expected. But the event which we have passed, we are not able to see it there. So for that, let's should be like this. So we need to print it. So for that, we need to go in the code and code here. We need to print something we are passing. So console.log, and I'm just passing printing the event. So we need to deploy whatever we will change, and once our change Yeah, once it's deployed, then we need to test it. So now let's test, and yeah, so it changes. So you again you'll see, and now we are printing name ABC. So this is the logs. So how we can see logs? So here you will see monitor. In monitor there is log something, and CloudWatch is automatically integrated with your Lambda. So CloudWatch is a service provided by AWS in which we can see logs. So right now uh, here when we have tested, you can see. Let's test it again. Okay, it got tested. Details here, and then you can see. Click here to view corresponding CloudWatch log. So this is how we can see logs in cloud of Lambda in CloudWatch. So once it's loading, it's taking time till then we'll talk about other things. Monitoring, same thing, CloudWatch and the metrics of Lambda we can see. Here you can see configuration. So configuration here, the most important part you will see memory and timeout. So memory we need to allocate our Lambda, how much memory our Lambda want, and you can edit it from here. And timeout, so timeout we need to give whenever we are creating a new Lambda. So after some period of time our Lambda got timeout. Suppose we haven't provided any timeout, and our timeout is 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and our Lambda keep on running. So on the basis of that, AWS do some billing. So billing happen on the basis of timeout and memory. So you can edit it from here. Suppose you want some memory and all those in timeout, so you can change from here. So right now I'm not changing anything. And functional variables are like, suppose you are using one S3 bucket and you want to save your S3 bucket name here, so you can save it in environment variables. Right now there is no triggers for this AWS Lambda, so you can add triggers. So as I have said earlier, that more than 200 ways we can trigger our AWS Lambda. So you can see Alexa, Kafka, API gateway. Using these services, you can trigger our Lambda. Right now, we are not creating any triggers. We'll talk about AWS Lambda. Yeah, you can see the logs. Uh, I triggered my Lambda when I was testing it, and you can see the logs in CloudWatch. So here all about Lambda, how to create a Lambda, how to see a log in Lambda, how to test. Here's the code, and inside this code we have written one handler, and in handler we write all the logic, what this function will do. And once we are done with our function, it's always recommended to delete our resources. So I'm deleting my resource. We need to just click here, delete, and then it'll say that delete. So here all about Lambda, some basic information about Lambda, how to create it, what are how to see logs in CloudWatch, how to test it. So this is all about Lambda.